What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. Today was crazy for the market. Growth stocks just exploded to the upside. DraftKings was up 7%. Zoom was up 5%. Neo, Baidu, and Baba were up crazy amounts. And the market kind of sold off, especially at the end of the day. So we have a lot of news to talk about. And today was just crazy. So make sure you stick around to the end. We have a lot of stocks that are in amazing setups for not only tomorrow, but especially for like the next couple of months or so. So Tom, with that being said, what's going on in the market right now?
Yeah, there's a lot of huge setups out here in the market today. We can see Baba's doing amazing. We have DraftKings up, like you said. A lot of the China stocks actually turned around, which was really good news. But across the board, almost all growth stocks went up. Even AMC was up 3%, and they had a pretty big move in the middle of the day and touched $30, which is pretty good for that stock as well. And it was just a really good day. There was some bad news came across that Tesla did end up having some recalls, but other than that, there wasn't too much bad news in the market today, and we had some great moves with the upside. I know the SPY ended up selling off though at the end of the day, which was rough. But man, I think the main thing was just these growth stocks like DraftKings, RUN. I'm really glad to see CHPT, BLNK turning around. These stocks have been getting destroyed. And overall, it was just a really amazing day. And one of my favorite setups in the market, Mike, is Zoom, actually. They had a pretty explosive day. They did pull back here at the end, but man, on the daily chart, I think they are starting to really form a nice support down here, and it just looks really solid.
Yeah, Zoom is looking awesome right now for a long-term play and even for a short-term play. So that's great to see. And, I'm definitely not going to complain when DraftKings is up 7%. Let's go. So, finally we're seeing these growth stocks start to pop up. They've been in horrible downtrends for a while now. And Tom, something that I think is very interesting is while we have growth companies like DraftKings, Zoom, Teladoc, and AI up a good amount, some of these bigger companies are selling off just a little bit, like AMD, maybe Microsoft, maybe a little bit of Apple. And I think we're finally seeing that rotation that we've been talking about for what seems like months now, right? Like we're seeing the bigger, I guess you could say, companies just selling off just a little bit. They're not crashing or anything like that, but they're just getting a little bit of selling pressure, and a lot of that money seems to be flowing into these companies that are trading at really low levels like DraftKings, Zoom, and a lot of others.
Yeah, it really does. And I'm really glad to see these stocks starting to fall. I know that might not be the most popular opinion out there, but I think that transition is starting to happen, which is amazing to see. Today was awesome, Mike. And I like how you pointed that out, because a lot of these bigger plays, especially the big ones like Apple that really control the markets, started really to fall off at the end of the day. I mean, it just was not a good day, especially towards the end. And it really made the SPY start to sell off as well. And I love how these stocks are starting to all go up in sympathy with each other. I know that we've been talking about that for a while as well. And it's cool to see them all starting to rise at the same time. I think that's a really good sign. And it shows that they all might start to go up at the same time, of course. And a lot of times it's company specific news, but I'm really glad that it's more of like a sympathy play in this case. But man, looking at the SPY on the 5-minute chart, it's not looking good. It's actually right around this 476 support. I am not looking forward to tomorrow for the overall market.
Yeah, we'll see. Like the S&P 500 is looking a little tough, but these growth stocks are looking great. Like even if we shift over into some of the China stocks like Neo and Baba, Neo had an amazing day. So it closed up 15%, but it didn't even close at its highs. At one point, I think it was up like nearly 17% today, which is insane. Neo up 17%. That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. I'm glad to see China doing a lot better. I know we even saw some bad news come across with China over the past few days, but I know there was some good news with the Evergrande situation, at least over the weekend. So lots of mixed news here. And it seems like China almost double bottomed on those supports. I'm just so glad to see these ones starting to go up. I'm really glad. And I hope that this transition starts to really make some of these stocks explode. Like I said before, my favorite setup is Zoom. I'm really eyeing up Corsair, DraftKings. Twitter's been another big one. I feel like this one had a really good day as well. Facebook even did fairly well. They're not doing as well as some of these growth stocks, but in the end, I'm glad to see them in the green. And it just seems like a lot of these stocks are really starting to break out, which is nice to see. I love the intraday setups on them too, Mike. Like it's not just early morning runs on most of these. Like in Zoom's case, we saw them pretty much run up all day long. Same thing with Neo and multiple others. Like they just did not dip at all today.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, what other news do we have going on in the market?
Yeah, right now there actually is some pretty big news with Nancy Pelosi coming out. I have it pulled up right here. This is the Tesla news tab on Thinkorswim, and we can see that they reported that the Democratic majority leader seems to be keeping busy while Congress is in recess for the holidays as she purchases millions of dollars worth of call options between December 17th and December 21st. And I went ahead and clicked the financial disclosures right there, and it pretty much pulls up this awesome article here. I'm going to grab it right there. And we can see that she ended up buying a lot of Google, some Micron, some Roblox. But my favorite one that she bought, Mike, is actually Disney. It looks like she bought Disney. And I love how this article puts all these strike prices on here for us. We can see that she purchased it December 17th, somewhere between $100,000 and $250,000 was the total position. She got 50 options at a strike price of $130 for September 16th of 2022. That's a pretty deep in the money strike price. I would think she's going to be holding this option, I think, for quite a while on Disney, Mike. Disney looks like it's at a pretty good buying point right now. And honestly, I think a lot of these plays are pretty good.
Yeah, she's buying the dip, Tom. She really is. Like, especially with Disney, like you mentioned. I know she was also playing Salesforce and Roblox too. So I'm kind of tempted to follow her on some of these plays. But either way, it's good to see that she is buying Disney. She has an interesting history with the stock market. She actually does very, very well. So hopefully Disney goes to the moon with this. And I love how they listed the strike prices, the dollar amounts and all that. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. And you guys can go ahead and find this on the news tab on Thinkorswim. All that you have to do is just go to the news tab, type in Tesla up here, and you can go down. It's the one that came out around 3 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Central time, or I should say 2:11 p.m. Central time there.
Here we go. So awesome stuff. And let's get right into these momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have AMD to the downside.
Yeah, and with AMD, go ahead and make them fall below I would say 144.75 to the downside, maybe 144.50 if they fall below 75 before market open.
All right. And then we have Baidu to the upside.
Yeah, with Baidu, go ahead and make them break out above 152.50.
All right. And then we have DraftKings also to the upside.
Yeah, this one was huge. Make them break out above $29.
All right, so we're watching DraftKings and Baidu for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And we are watching AMD for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. With that being said, let's get right into, or let's shout out our member of the day, and that is Simp in the Discord. So huge shout out, Simp. He's been with us for a while. He's a great member. He adds a lot of value to the chat, and he definitely puts a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces. He's very funny and overall just a great member of the chat. So huge shout out to Simp. Thank you so much for everything you do. Tom and I and a lot of other members appreciate you. So awesome stuff there. And let's get right into these comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Carlos saying, is there a serious risk of delisting in 2022 for NEO and other Chinese stocks? So it's kind of on like a company by company basis. Like I know DD, which is DIDI, has been under a ton of fire lately. And, you know, for companies like DD, yes, like they're having serious problems right now. But companies like NEO, I guess you could say there's like less of a risk delisting. So it really depends on the company. And this situation is changing day by day. And, you know, anytime bad news comes out of China or like, you know, the US, like that can radically change the risk for these China stocks. So it really depends on the company. But I would say NEO is, I don't want to call it safe because it's not safe, but I would say there's I guess you could say for delisting, there are much riskier China stocks out there.
Yeah, definitely. Like I would say even like Alibaba is a little bit riskier in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe it's just I really think that Neo being in the EV sector has held it up very nicely. And whenever we go look at some of these other ones like Baba, I feel like they've fallen in a lot bigger of a case. You know, like Baba started to really fall below some of those key supports. Like it just pretty much went straight down. I feel like Neo is definitely a little bit better. And it's most of this is also opinion. Keep in mind, it just depends on who you talk to. You know, if you talk to somebody who doesn't like China, they'll probably tell you that it's pretty likely that they'll be delisted. But to be honest, I mean, the chances are probably going to be pretty low.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really hard to say because, like, we all know how China is, and this type of situation changes every single day. So there's a lot of factors that come into place. And then with the next comment, we have Tap saying, "What's up with Lucid? Do you think it's going to go much lower than it is right now?" So this stock is one of those stocks that is like really I guess you could say sensitive to like news and catalysts and even earnings. So basically this stock is very volatile, as we all know, but it really depends on like, their deliveries and their expectations and their earnings and things like that. With that being said, implied volatility is getting relatively low right now. It's still kind of high, but it's getting lower, which is good. So if you have shares of this company, what you can do is you can buy puts on it on the options chain, and that will essentially act as like an insurance policy. So it depends on like what your cost basis is and all that stuff. But if you really want to protect yourself, put options can be good. And even if you want to hedge just a little bit, you can always sell some covered calls.
Yeah, and I kind of like Lucid to be honest. I think its setup is pretty nice. I like them as a company for the longer term. It's just in the shorter term, you never know how much lower they're going to keep going. I will say on the chart, I love how they're bouncing around $35. I think that looks like a really good support down here at the bottom. And I really hope that it ends up holding up. And the great news about, I think, Lucid is that they ended up popping back up today with all these other growth stocks. And if we see the rest of the EV sector start to pop up, especially like Neo and the rest, I feel like that some of these other stocks could start to also go up.
Here we go. And then we have Quickies saying, what do you think about SOFI in Workhorse? So SOFI is not bad. It's actually at a really good level, and it had an amazing day today. Like it's bouncing off of that like $14 support. It's channeling between 14 and like 24. So it's at a good level, but if you do play it, I think shares would be ideal.
Yeah, I do too. I think shares will be the smarter way to go with this one. But I will say I like the setup as well. It looks pretty good. And it had a very good day, up 10%. Like you said, Mike, that's very explosive. I know lots of people have been eyeing this one up, and look at how much volume's been coming in, at least relatively over the past like 6 months. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. And then Workhorse or even Donkey Horse, as we call it in the Discord, is looking pretty rough, to be honest. Like it's really not a play for me, and the chart looks brutal, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, it had a good day today. I will say it was up 3%, but I will say on that daily chart, it's not looking good. It started to really fall below that like $5 support. And yeah, I would say it's just also not a play for me. I would rather just play these other stocks like Lucid maybe, or maybe just grab make a little bit of a diverse like ETF maybe with it. Just buy some Lucid, maybe some Neo, a couple others. I think that would be a good way to go.
True, true. All right, Tom. Well, do you have any last minute stocks or anything for tomorrow?
Man, the overall market, I could not believe how that dipped down at the end of the day today. If we start to really fall below this 476 support, I could start to see the market selling off in a pretty big way. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing though. This might be great because, we saw the market dip down and we're seeing stocks like DraftKings doing extremely well today. I think that if the overall market dips, it's just going to be because stocks like Apple, AMD, Nvidia start to really tank down. And like if Nvidia falls below 295, I mean, man, we're probably going to see the SPY start to sell off in a pretty drastic way. So definitely be careful tomorrow with some of these stocks like Nvidia and the rest. But man, I'm really looking for a continuation out of stocks like Zoom, Corsair, DraftKings. I could really see these stocks starting to go on a nice run as the overall market starts to take a bit of a dip. So hopefully we see this start to continue, Mike, and hopefully today was the start of something big.
There we go. So if you guys are watching any specific stocks, let us know in the comments down below. We'll probably take a look at them in tomorrow's video. And if you liked the video, please consider subscribing. We're really close to 50,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to us, and you'd see our videos more often. So definitely consider subscribing. Like I said, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. Other than that, thanks for watching.